spend watching you shower.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast presented by Amazon Prime. It's Thursday, June 12th, 2025. I'm J.E. Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
Basketball lovers, this is for you.
Next to him, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Ayo.
Ayo. And over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are. If you like NBA basketball, hit the like button. If you're an NBA sicko, subscribe. And if you're a podcast listener, you know what to do. 5-star ratings and reviews.
There we go.
How about the boys? All right.
Levels. There's levels to this.
We got a fun podcast lined up here. We got a great Game 3 to talk about. So much to unpack from this one. And a little later, we're going to rank the 5 potential landing spots for a Kevin Durant trade. Shams gave us the list yesterday.
It's going to be a long podcast.
It's going to be a long one. We're going to make up for that 35-minute podcast we had earlier in the week. Was that earlier in the week or last week? I can't even remember anymore.
I think it was this week.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell with how rarely they're playing NBA games
don't know.
right now.
Dude, it was yesterday.
But it wasn't our fault.
No, it wasn't yesterday. We did an hour podcast yesterday, man.
Oh,
this
yeah.
must have been.
Yeah, it was
Literally.
It was after game 2. It was after game 2.
When was that?
Monday, I guess.
Yeah.
The show was Monday.
The
Yeah.
show
it was
was
a
Monday.
quickie.
The show was
Wow.
Monday.
Don't worry.
Blurs.
When it's close, the podcast is long.
That's right. And look,
Word of advice.
the Indiana Pacers will not go away after being outplayed in Game 2 of the finals. The Pacers took it to the Thunder in Game 3 last night. Good old Canadian boy, Bennedict Mathurin, scoring 27 points off the bench. Tyrese Haliburton flirting. Oh, yeah. Really flirting with a triple-double. And the Pacers retook the lead in the finals with the 116-107 victory. It was the Pacers' best offensive game and best defensive game of the series. And you can take your Thunder in 5 predictions and rip them up, which was like 90% of people out there.
Indeed.
Because we got a series here, and what a game, Tass. Who do you want to start with
It's
from
fun.
the Indiana side?
I want to start with TJ McConnell.
Okay.
But not just because of the steals. But I think he was the one who got Bennedict Mathurin going. He was the one who initiated a lot of that to get him to 27 points, which they needed every single one. At the beginning of the second quarter, Bennedict Mathurin got the ball. Didn't really start anything. It went back to TJ McConnell, who set up Pascal Siakam for a nice score. Then immediately, here comes the first McConnell steal. He steals the ball and is able to give it to Bennedict Mathurin right under the rim for a 1-foot layup. So he just sees a nice little practice layup. He sees one go through. A minute later, Bennedict Mathurin gets the ball, just has the time to dribble into the mid-range. Chet Holmgren gives him too much space. He just lines up a shot. It goes down. TJ McConnell, a minute later, is able to push it after a make. After a make, he pushes it as hard as he can. He gives it to Bennedict Mathurin in the corner. Another three, another shot made. That's 7 points. In a mere 3 minutes for Bennedict Mathurin, and he just got it rolling and rolling and rolling. And obviously, TJ McConnell was amazing, and his second steal that he made when he put it off Cason Wallace. Now, was he stepping out of bounds when the ball hit Cason, when he was throwing it at Cason Wallace? Yeah, maybe. That was a very, very tough call to make if he was out of bounds. But either way, yeah, the 5 steals add up. But listen, it was a 4-point game for the Thunder in the fourth quarter. I mean, this was not over. But McConnell kept on friggin' doing it, and he shook Shea. He had a 1-foot shot after shaking Shea. Shea went for the block when it's a 4-point game. McConnell missed a 1-footer. He missed a very close shot. But then Bennedict Mathurin, he had a monster hand on the ball to get it to Ben Shepherd for an open bucket. Not Ben Shepherd. He looks like Ben Shepherd for I'm second out there, but Andrew Nembhard for an easy bucket. So Mathurin was just there doing other things. He had to. He had to have that trickle-down effect of TJ McConnell just doing everything. And then there's the TJ McConnell steal from Alex Caruso inbounding the ball. I've never thought I would say Alex Caruso had a bad game because he did so many good things, but this might be a bad Alex Caruso game. He gave it to TJ McConnell. And then even Shea goes to the line at the other side, makes a second free throw, and the Pacers run. They just run. And the Thunder made a mistake. They just gave Bennedict Mathurin too much space. Bang, shot. Another Thunder mistake. Bang, too much space. So It trickled down, man. The TJ McConnell hustling, gave it to Bennedict Mathurin, and then you could see it happening. Obi Toppin comes in, no Alex Caruso or Chet Holmgren box out, bang, another huge dunk. So the trickle-down effect of the TJ McConnell speed. He was a demon out there. There's no doubt about that. Dad was happy. He met Granddad in the hallway after the game, which was super cool. Pascal Siakam giving love to TJ McConnell's granddad.
I now know every member of the McConnell family over the last week or so.
Sister,
we saw a lot of sister in the WNBA.
Uncle Mitch.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, McConnell Mathurin helping Indy have a 49-18 edge in bench points. TJ's stat line, 10 points, 5 assists, 5 steals in like 15 minutes. I did love that. I guess it was his last of his 3 steals where he got it on the inbounds, where he just put on like the cloak of invisibility. Caruso was like, he wasn't there, just went up, snatched it out of the air, put it back in, tied it up, and then Mathurin was even better as the reserve, 27 points on ridiculous efficiency, TK.
I can't deny it. I felt like I was cooking yesterday. My 2 keys to the game were Bennedict Mathurin and Obi Toppin, and they both played awesome in this one. 27 points in 22 minutes for Ben Mathurin, only 22 years old, plus 4 rebounds, like you're saying. He was contributing at least as much as he could outside of scoring, and then scoring incredibly well. 2 3-pointers, 7 for 8 at the free throw line. He's a good driver, and the Thunder were not able to keep him out of the lane. TJ McConnell, kind of the same thing. Crossovers, getting inside. That 1-footer was weird. He kind of dropped the ball right at the end. Somebody must got a hand on it, but the Thunder needed that rebound. They couldn't get it. Nembhard knocks down a tough shot. Nobody practices a 16-footer from the state of Indiana logo right there. He caught it on a tip out, knocked it down, and then, like you're saying, the steal right away. That was the turning point in the game. Unless you consider the turning point in the game, the second quarter, when the bench checked in, because Haliburton went out 32-24 when Haliburton came out. When he came back in, 37-36 for Indiana, and it was Mathurin, it was McConnell, it was Obi Toppin running the court. Obi was good again in the fourth quarter, allowed Pascal Siakam to sit for quite some time, had that great sequence where he came to the lane with the tip dunk, put Indiana up 7. Then on the defensive end, he's involved in the pick and roll. With
he got switched on to J-Dub.
Yeah, exactly. He got switched on to J-Dub, stuck with him, blocked him at the rim. They just made so many plays in the fourth quarter. Meanwhile, the Thunder looked totally gassed in the fourth quarter. They had 1 basket in the last 5 minutes and 58 seconds of this game. I think a lot of that was Indiana's defense really packing the paint. Also, OKC wasn't trusting their jumpers at all, so they were over-penetrating, driving into Miles Turner. Miles Turner, what a weird game for this guy. Really struggled through 3 quarters. We found out he was sick afterwards. I think he was 2 for 10 through the first 3 quarters. Only 1 basket in the fourth, that patient drive where he gets down into the lane on Chet and finishes at the rim. That was good, but then 3 blocks, including that awesome sequence where he stops a pick and roll, then gets out to Chet to block his 3-pointer. It gets back to Chet. He tries to drive in and then just gets engulfed in the lane by Miles Turner. So the Pacers, they did awesome. You know, we say role players play better at home, and that's exactly what happened in this game. But I think this is such an impressive win by Indiana. It's the first time I really feel like they can win the finals here because they won this one with defense. They were 9 for 27 from 3. I mean, Haliburton was awesome. Kind of ridiculous we took this long to get to Tyrese Haliburton, but he was really good in this one. Aggressive from the start. 5 mid-range attempts in the first half. He had 5 in the first halves of the first 2 games combined. So he was looking to score. He was looking to do a lot more. They got Siakam involved early, unleashed him as well. He finally got busy in transition. And then the defense that they brought in the second half, the Pacers, they were putting 2 on the ball on Shea pick and rolls. They were a lot smarter, doubling him when he was down in the post. Obi Toppin was really good there as well. Shea was exhausted by the end of this game, and that's why you see a lot of mental mistakes from him, giving up an offensive rebound to Haliburton. There's that play where Siakam gets the run out, seals Shea underneath, and Shea, super lazy defense, tries to tip it from behind. Easy layup for Siakam. I thought the Pacers' pace really outdid the Thunder in this one. You could tell in the third quarter the Thunder were getting tired. Anytime they would go down with a foul, they're laying on the ground for 20 seconds, and you see their ribs looking like JD's
breathing.
dog when he comes in from outside. It was crazy. They were huffing and puffing, and that's why they got outscored 32-18 in the fourth.
Yeah, I did feel in watching this game 3, like the first time all series that the Pacers had like taken off the OKC handcuffs, or at least loosened them a little bit, because they did have like rhythm going. A lot of it was their defense like turning into some easier offense, but the ball was zipping. They were letting threes fly. Big part of it, again, is Haliburton. He was aggressive from the jump. He was looking. He was taking his little mid-range floater. He was letting the three go, obviously still playmaking and all that. And it was just like, whoa, they actually look like a lot of the Pacers games we've seen throughout the postseason and a lot of the regular season, really. And this is the first time in the finals where it felt like, oh, yeah, they're playing Pacers ball right now. And, you know, you're at home, crowd's going berserk. Like, I was sweating during this game. I have no dog in this race. I can't lose. There's Canadians on both sides. Yeah. We're coming out with a championship. But I was like so tense because it felt just like the basketball was intense. They're playing their asses off. You talk about the exhaustion where the Pacers did have more left in the tank at the end. And I was like, it's one of those games where you're like, I want to get a basketball in my hand. That's all I want to do. I like go back to being a kid when it's like that exciting. So what a great game.
You and Reggie Miller. You and Reggie Miller must have been sweating. We'll get to the photo of him in a sweater and a jersey, courtside, clapping for everybody, and looking extremely tanned as well. So maybe he's sweating from the sun. But all of that to be said, the Thunder's made some mistakes down the stretch. You know, when we saw that last McConnell steal, and it ended up, Shea went to the free throw line. He hit a second free throw. And then he was the one guarding on the perimeter as the Pacers brought the ball up. And I was kind of puzzled by that. Shea on ball defense, when he was obviously gassed. You had Lou Dort sitting in the corner when those guys could have swapped positions, and that ended up being the Mathurin 3 there, you know, midway through the fourth, because Shea gave him a lot of space. I was a little confused by why Shea would be on the ball in that situation. Didn't really make a heck of a lot of sense to me. I mean, a minute later, the Pacers push again. Haliburton with the ball. Wallace goes under the screen. Hartenstein doesn't go out. Pacers score again for another shot. So I was a little confused by those little mistakes, and they all added up to the, hey, what's going on here? Why doesn't anyone box out Obi Toppin? I mean, it was a great trickle-down effect of every single role player. Obi Toppin comes in, Miles Turner had those bad three quarters, and then boom, boom, you could see he was one who sucked the life out of Chet Holmgren, being able to block him multiple times down the stretch.
When he blocked his three-pointer, and then Holmgren, like, sort of panicked because he's like, he got it back. I know the shot clock was going down, but he could have made a play or given it up maybe to a guard. But he had tried to attack Turner off the dribble, got stonewalled again, but it's like, I was like thinking, in all honesty, how many times has Chet Holmgren had a three-pointer blocked in his life? It's got to be like a handful of times, and this is like a high-stake, big-pressure game, great play. Again, with a weird Turner game where it's like, there was times I'm like, oh, Turner, I mean, he's clanking these threes. Like, he's getting good looks. This guy's like gone ice cold for them, but obviously stuck with it. Carlisle goes to him, defensive purposes. He makes a big play. And then I wanted to bring up another defensive play from a guy who I keep saying is probably the best conditioned athlete in the league, or one of them. Siakam, it was still a 6-point game. There was like a minute 30 to go. SGA brought it up. Siakam got switched onto him, and he like stayed with him on the first attempt to drive. SGA does his little step back, tries to pump fake him. He stayed down, stayed disciplined, didn't bite on it. SGA had to give up the ball, got it right back. And Siakam played defense, like a hard-ass defense for another, like whatever it was, 10 seconds. Tough jumper, like he was all over him. He's obviously a lot taller. And then he screams the other way and scored, and that was sort of like the ice the game to me right there.
That was when Shea gave up on the
exactly. But that was what awesome defense in like, 47 minutes into this game. It's high intensity, and he was like down, like looking like Kevin Garnett, like let's go MVP. Like I'm gonna stop you here. That was awesome too, along with the Turner block.
Yeah, Siakam was great in this game. They made it a point to get him involved really early. He scored the first 6 points for the Pacers, and they were smart about getting him the ball on one side of the court, posting him up. Anytime he had a mismatch, they got him the ball. A lot of the time, Siakam likes to play at the free throw line, so he can go either way. That's not as smart against the Thunder. Then they can just double from either side of the court. When he's playing on one side, he knows where it's going to come from. He's able to score, and then he was actually getting some transition points. It definitely felt like this was the first time the Pacers felt a freedom of movement in this series, and it was just really, really impressive. Shea's going to have to play better in the clutch this series. He hasn't had a good clutch series so far. The Pacers have obviously won the 2 close games in the series, and Shea really hasn't been a factor. I thought he was pretty non-existent, really, down the stretch. He made that jump shot with, maybe 3.5 minutes left. I think he took one shot afterwards, and it was just standing in the corner. It was J-Dub. J-Dub was awesome in the second half, I thought. He played a great game. the Pacers were doing a good job of getting the ball out of Shea's hands, for sure. Nembhard was all over him when he didn't have the ball. But also, they got to get him the ball. He's got to make some shots. If he makes the shot at the end of game 1, Haliburton doesn't even get a chance. This guy's the MVP. He's held to a high standard, and this was his first bad game in this series, at least. But I thought this was a pretty inconsequential game from SGA. He got completely taken out by the pace of the game. A lot of that is because there's a lot of reliance on Shea and on J-Dub. There's nobody else who's really going to make a play for the Thunder, so it was all on those guys taking turns. J-Dub was able to be successful. Shea was not.
Yeah, Holmgren tried to be that guy at times, but Miles Turner got the best of him. I thought the strategy of taking Shea out of the game with full court pressure must have tired him out to some degree. Yeah. Whether it was Nembhard, Nesmith, just pressuring him every single time. And as I said, you could have moved him off the ball defensively at times. I think that would have been the thing to do. But yeah, they lost his minutes by 3 points, and they lost his minutes on the bench by 6 points.
And in the fourth quarter, SGA 3 points, 1 of 3 shooting to illustrate your point, TK. And even that one he hit, if you go back and watch that was Nembhard making it hell, like, taking the hits, obviously still challenging. It was a great shot from SGA. It was not easy by any means. It was taxing. So, like, even the one he hits in the fourth was like, oh, God, I had to really work for those 2 points, because that's just a credit to, like, that was an amazing defensive performance from all of those guys. They were on a string. They obviously the pressure, like you said, picking up full court. And it seemed to have an effect, at least the tiring of OKC and SGA as the game went on.
Yeah, it sure seemed like it. And whether or not it was just going home and doing this one time, we will see game 4 if they can do it again. But still, the bet makers have the Pacers as the underdog. They're still the underdog. And it's hard not to think about this team like the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. Especially watching Bennedict Mathurin drop it like Jason Terry out there. That was 27 points off the bench, the most scored by a reserve in the finals game since Jason Terry in 2011 when he was awesome. And yeah, those Mavs teams were kind of, sort of a flip of the coin in terms of being a favorite in the first series against the Blazers, just like the Pacers were against the Bucks. Then they were the underdog against the Lakers in the second series, like the Pacers against the Cavs. Third series against the Thunder, like the Pacers against the Knicks. Many people taking the Knicks. Not everybody. Many people taking the Knicks. And then in the finals against the Heat, the Mavs, again, were the underdog. So here we are. The Mavs won that series 4-2. Whoa. Are we saying that the Pacers can win the next 2 games in this series? Game 4 is obviously, it's everything, baby. It's the whole series.
Friday night. We'll have a show on Saturday here from the Classic Factory.
Only one day off.
Only one day. Yes.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. Yes, exactly. Let's keep the good times rolling here. I will say, though, to that, I saw a stat going around, like, the lower seeded team in the finals over the last very long time, if they're up 2-1, have not actually won the series. Now, it is a little funny because I think in the last 2 incidences, they were the Warriors teams with Steph Curry. It was the 22 finals where they're down 2-1. Then we have the Steph Curry game 4, and they obviously come back. And then it was the 2015 finals back when the Cavs were up 2-1. That's obviously the start sort of the Warriors dynasty, if you want to call it that, or their really great run. And they came back. Now, this is not the Warriors, but Thunder are a great team, and I don't think that's why I think they are still the favorites here. But yeah, it comes down to game 4. They were in the same position against the Nuggets. They were down 2-1
Yep.
with a huge game 4, and obviously got that to 7 and to win it. But man, like, as long as the basketball is just like, these teams are just playing so damn hard. And there was a stretch at the end of the first half, I guess it was, where obviously Indy goes into the locker room up 4, but it was like the playmaking from all of the stars was like amazing to watch. SGA had a stretch where he just took over the game. Small little window there at the end of the first half. J-Dub started attacking the rim. Haliburton started hitting floaters. He was hitting a 3. Siakam was scoring in transition off an OKC make. He tried to dunk on J-Dub. He didn't, but he gave it a go. It was like all of the stars were like going here. And then in the start of the second half, I have to admit, after an awesome first half from Indy, their bench all contributing, them having the lead, I was like, holy crap, it felt like they outplayed the hell out of OKC. They're only up 4. And then what happens at the start of the second half, it was like an immediate 6-0 run for OKC. J-Dub drived and scored. J-Dub drived again. Big bump on Nesmith. He went flying. He hit a jumper. And then SGA went left, stopped, popped, hit his jumper. Timeout from Indy because, he had Siakam missed a bunny Turner missed a wide open corner three. The first play was SGA blocking Nesmith, and I was like, oh, it didn't look good. Again, I know I keep doing it with Indiana. I was like, oh man, they have played so well here, but the Thunder took the punch, and they're gonna roll now, especially because J-Dub's got it going. But nope. Then we got to the bench coming back for the Pacers and completely flipping the game once again.
At the beginning of the fourth quarter, though, it felt like both teams were exchanging punches, and OKC was still up 4 points.
I know.
I mean,
I know.
And until the McConnell shake of Shea, and then end up getting the offensive rebound to go have a 4-point run there to tie the game. But the first few minutes of the fourth quarter, I thought both of the benches, both of the role players were awesome. I mean, Shea's on the bench. Bennedict Mathurin double screen, the spin and one, beautiful. Then Kaysen Wallace across his body, hitting a shot going the different direction. McConnell scores at the rim. Isaiah Hartenstein a running layup. Didn't expect that to happen. Bennedict Mathurin with a beautiful lefty. TJ McConnell.
Oh, that was pretty too. Yeah,
it was awesome. Then TJ McConnell steal, and he throws it out of bounds. Now we got to review that. Did it go out of bounds off the Pacers, off the Thunder? What?
That was a weird one.
That was a terrible call. That's when you're really upset if you're the Thunder. You're like, we have to use a challenge for this.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't end up mattering at all, but
no, but it was like, it was not even close.
It was brutal. Richard Jefferson was like, what? Yeah. That's one of the worst reviews we've ever seen.
Yeah. And then Shea set an off-ball screen for that Holmgren cut where Caruso passed it to him. Pacers shot clock violation. Again, OKC still up 4. So their bench performed.
I know.
And then boom, 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 boom. The Pacers bench was monstrous. McConnell / Mathurin, those two dudes. Yeah, I mean, there's pretty plays, just pretty plays.
Mathurin joining a pretty impressive list here. Players this century to score 25-plus points in a finals game when they're 22 or younger, because, man, this guy is still very young. Mathurin, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Tony Parker, Kobe Bryant.
Hall of Famer, you're saying?
I guess so, baby. Wow, what a game. And you're right. You were talking about he is the one guy that can create. And those ones that you just went through, Tass, a couple of those at the start of the fourth quarter, keeping them alive. Tough shots, like both that left-hand layup over guys and that one where he spun and hit the little fadeaway. Big shots.
I'm giving all the credit to TJ for getting them going in the second quarter.
They went hand in hand, no doubt. Obviously, the spark plug energy of TJ McConnell, but Mathurin the one scoring.
Yeah.
Mathurin carried him.
And then, like you said,
specifically,
that 30-second Obi Toppin takeover where it's like big defensive rebound, huge putback dunk, where his head's like a foot above the rim, and then the big block. Yeah. It was like that was like in a 30-second window. But it was like instrumental in this victory.
They made all the plays, as they have for their entire playoff run here. Meanwhile, I thought OKC was just lacking attention to detail. 19 turnovers on the game. They missed 7 free throws, allowed 7 offensive rebounds for the Pacers. Looking in the fourth quarter, kind of a microcosm of the game, 5 turnovers, 4 missed free throws when they were trying to come back. Like, the game was kind of there for them to steal, because the Pacers, for whatever reason, just kept fouling the Thunder really quick, like on these plays, sending them to the line, and J-Dub was missing.
They kept missing
allowed
one.
3 offensive rebounds, and they just could not trust their shots, and they were going into 4 or 5 guys just waiting for them in the lane.
Yeah, I think we can question the officials. I know we've got a call that we'll get to a little bit later, but I do think the officials definitely treated the home team as the home team a little bit. I mean, specifically Chet Holmgren getting fouled twice when it was debatable as to whether or not he was going up for a shot attempt, and it was deemed that he was on the floor twice. I thought those were odd calls. Then you get into the Bennedict Mathurin getting into the lane. Jalen Williams kind of didn't foul him. I think I'm calling that one right, where Alex Caruso throws his hand up. They give him an and one situation there in the middle of the lane. Anyway, all that to say,
they haven't been the story of this finals at all, though. I mean, and that's why it's been, they are letting them play a lot more physicality, and I mean, we say all the time, not an easy job, but I don't think it's like,
no, it's not.
Oh God, they've ruined it, and why are we talking about them now?
Team plays harder, gets the calls. That's just how it goes.
Well, I think JD does have the one clip that people are going, whoa, this was interesting after they reviewed it and kept the call as was, but it was the fourth quarter. It was like 2:35 left. Caruso Awesome steal on Haliburton. Now, they are running out of time here, so it needs to be sort of perfect from here on out for OKC to come back. But you see him on the fast break. He's ahead of Nesmith. Nesmith from behind with the 2 arms down, sort of across the shoulder, into the arms, and then I guess even into the Dickens there at the end. And it was called a foul, of course, but reviewed it. And a lot of people thought, broadcast included, this might be a flagrant. They might get 2 shots here on the ball back. And again, they would need that. That would help their chances to come back. In the end, it's old James Capers coming over, looking into the camera, telling us, no wind up and no follow through. Lots of contact, but that sort of was his explanation. TK, I'll start with you. Did they get this one wrong, or at least you shocked that they didn't give that a flagrant one?
I was more surprised than anything. I thought for sure this was going to be a flagrant. I thought there was wind up, maybe not as much follow through. Though I'll say, Nesmith goes to wrap him up. This is not a basketball play.
Yeah.
Caruso was jumping at the rim already when he gets wrapped up, but he does kind of try and save it, he's not malicious about the way he goes down. He doesn't land on top of Caruso or anything like that. So, I don't know. They woke Steve Javy up after a 3-hour nap.
Hey, Steve, wake up.
Steve, we haven't talked to you for 2 games. He's just been hanging out in the replay center. He comes in there like, nah, this is not going to be a flagrant call.
Yeah, he was right.
He was right. Breen couldn't believe it. RJ couldn't believe it. But Chicken Piccata himself, James Capers, comes to the scorer's table. He's the most delicious ref out there. And made the call. So, I think that's probably a regular season flagrant foul. But I'm happy with that being a hard playoff foul. That looks like a hard playoff foul.
What do you think? Were you shocked?
I've got something for my child to watch. She's going to love that you said chicken piccata. That's what she loves eating. Chicken piccata because she loves capers some way, somehow.
Wow.
Didn't know it would be passed down.
Which girl?
Zoe.
Oh, okay.
Zoe is into capers.
Amazing.
They were debating on the desk as to what is a windup. That was the funny part about the broadcast team. How much of the windup was it? And I was surprised to hear Javy come on, before Capers makes the call and say, nah. No, I'm not doing that in the playoffs. We're not calling that a flagrant. Now, you're right in that he wasn't going for the basketball. He was going for bod. He was going for the body, so it wasn't a block.
Trying to stop a dunk.
Yeah, and he did hold him, and he did get him below the belt for sure. I don't know. Was it 3 minutes left in this game when that happened?
It was 2.5,
Yeah. So
it was important. If they had called a flagrant, they would have. Again, I think it would have still been pretty far-fetched for OKC to come back and win the game. I thought the Pacers playing better. They looked more conditioned. They had gas still left in the tank, but they would have had 2 free throws in the ball. So it would have been a chance to make it. Well, I guess you could have got it to a 4-point game.
Yeah, Caruso made it a 6-point game with 2 free throws, but they could have had the ball. I need to know. More importantly, I was okay with them not calling it with 2.5 minutes left because Caruso was fine, but he was lying on the ground. I need to know, why was he lying on the ground? Was it the arms or was it the shot to the penis?
Well, that's my frustration with it. Okay, first off, that's in OKC. That is guaranteed called a flagrant 1 foul. So, whatever. That's home cooking. I get it. The other part is, and this drives me nuts, is Caruso did lie on the ground. I think he's tired. He did sort of say at one point, he's like, my back hurts. Maybe it was just from landing on it. He sort of reached at it. But because he was not injured, I think they were like, he's okay. He's ready to shoot the free throws. Let's go. And it's like almost, I hate to say this, but it's almost in your best interest if you really are trailing in a game late and you want to get that flagrant to get the free throws and the ball back. It's like, man, you got to act like you just got shot, man. You got to really sell it because I think it's more likely than they call it.
He was lying on the ground for a while.
Yeah, but
I think if he's holding his groin.
My point is I hate when they do that, but that's why, to me, that was a flagrant 1 foul.
It does seem like had they called it a flagrant, we wouldn't even talk about it today.
Right.
Everybody would be like, oh yeah, that's a flagrant.
Yeah.
But it's June, baby.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is June. Yes,
that's why I'm okay with not calling it. It's June.
Okay. Anything else from the game? I know we have more random notes, but anything game specific or moving ahead in this series that you wanted to address before we get to it?
Quickly, Tyrese Haliburton hitting a floater in the eye of Isaiah Hartenstein, who is the king of floaters. I think, in the back of his head saying, oh yeah, this was early when we were all looking for Tyrese Haliburton to get going. I think in the back of his head he was saying, "I'm the king of floaters, dude."
I don't consider what Hartenstein does a floater.
I mean, it's a push shot.
Yeah, it's more of a push shot.
Yeah, it's a pusher. It's a pusher.
Yeah.
But
Hallie was looking
also
for that.
a pusher.
He was seeking that out when he had that space.
Yep, and he was doing a great job.
Yeah, he had a fantastic game. Like I hope we didn't gloss over him, but
a little bit.
22 points, 9 boards, 11 assists, 9 to 17 from the field, and the 4 threes, touching paint as well. Though McConnell was doing a lot of that, and Mathurin, and he was active on defense too.
Big time,
Hallie. So really locked into that game, and they are now 9-1 in the playoffs when he takes at least 15 shots. And a much more, mediocre record when he takes fewer than that. So again, it is this idea. He does, and he kept saying it. It wasn't just us. He was like, "Yeah, I gotta just be more locked in here from the jump."
Yeah,
and not taking 40 shots, not taking 30 shots like your SGA. Not that. Just on the ball movement. Get it back. Go. Take those floaters when they're there.
Exactly right. Take some shots that you don't necessarily want to take. People are like, "Oh, should he force up shots?" No, he should take the shots that are there that he just doesn't usually take. I think the shot attempts / 20-point record is kind of a funny stat. Like you're saying 9-1, but then you look at the assists. He's got 11 or more assists in 6 of those games. The other ones he's got 7 and 9 and 8, literally averaging 11 assists per game in those games where he scores 20 or more points. It's not that he's looking to score more. He's just doing more, period. Like he's taking over in these games. He hit that huge cross or sidestep 3 at the top of the key in the fourth quarter. Like Haliburton was feeling it. You can tell when he's contributing on defense. 9 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block. He thought he had another block where he jumped on top of a guy and then smacked it down. Right. But at least you could tell he was giving an effort on both ends. And honestly, when he's rebounding like that, 9 boards, that ignites their transition attack, which was kind of alive for the first time in this game.
Yeah, and man, he was the king of the jump passes are good last night too. Holy crap, he was doing it a lot last night.
He does it all the time.
He does it all the time. It was like more noticeable than games 1 or 2 that I can remember. So he had that going too. He was just in the feel last night.
And I didn't mind the Thunder going after him, trying to get to him defensively, but he stepped up and was monstrous. A guy who also stepped up is Lou Dort. Again, the guy is splashing threes. One of those threes was a freaking moon ball.
No. They get higher and higher, I swear.
And so he splashes home another 4 threes in the finals. He's hit multiple threes 3 of the 4 games. He's shooting 58% from 3. The
only problem is he uses them all too early in games.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he missed the biggest one.
Yeah, and that happened in game 1 as well. Like he was on fire, and then he got good looks in the fourth, and he couldn't knock them down. I mean, look,
he was 4 or 5
I'm joking
yesterday.
here. These are incredible 3-point percentages from him. Yeah. But yeah, he's getting these still looks in the fourth. It is a little bit like, I guess we got to live with this.
Yeah, that's what Dort's they're willing
kill
to
us
give
from
up.
Threes, yeah.
He made 3 for 3 in the first half and then took 2 shots in the course of 90 minutes in the second half. That's just hard to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, I do mention that one play where Dort was caught in the corner defensively. Like, you got to use Lou Dort for what he can do. And to see Shea on the ball after he makes his second free throw, and the Pacers are going, and he has to be on the ball, and Mathurin is able to get into his 3-point shot with Shea, kind of falling under the screen, which was, the idea. And Chet was supposed to be up. He didn't come out. A wide open 3. While Dort's just sitting there in the corner, guarding off the ball. If he's guarding Nembhard or is it Nesmith or Shepard? Somebody in the corner. Well, you got to use them. Mm-hmm. I think that's just strictly a mistake when Shea is obviously gassed. You could see when the ball was coming up by the Pacers on the other end, Shea, if he was in the corner, hands on the knees.
Oh, yeah.
He was a little strictly tight.
Well, let's get into maybe some of the sillier stuff or stuff maybe you missed in random notes.
Random!
TK, why don't you get us started? What's your first, random note?
Tuck it in, guys. We're looking at Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller was catching some eyes courtside in Indiana last night, wearing a Mark Jackson jersey over a hooded sweatshirt, all of which was tucked in to his tight jeans.
Yeah.
And a pair of Jordan, I think, 19s that I think he wore when he was playing.
Yeah.
Like he pulled them out of storage. I'm throwing these on. Pretty cool. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he wore them in the finals. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
That sounds right.
19? Jordan would already been retired? It could be. That'd be interesting if he actually had those on when finals time.
He's trying to relive it. He's trying to relive
this was a
finals.
crazy look. For
an absolutely insane look. Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, I guess you could say that's a thin type of hoodie, right? You know, not
I guess so.
not a chunky one or a heavy one, but still, that's a lot of fabric going into the front of those jeans.
Yeah, standing up, getting into the basketball, clapping.
Oh, God,
he
yeah.
must have been sweating.
Oh, yeah, he had to have been. If I was sweating at home watching it while sitting down, this guy's like living and dying with every play courtside, standing and clapping with all that fabric on.
Since we got to get into every single element, I mean, you can see the white trim on the sleeve. I guess that's just the way it looks like on the actual end of the.
Oh yeah, like the piping on his cuffs.
Yeah, I guess that's like, I was like, does he have a long sleeve shirt under there? But no, he couldn't be doing that.
Well, and then there's other great things from this photo. That is, I believe that's Reggie's son rocking his dad his own shirt with the choke, obviously iconic image. And then to the other side of Reggie, we got Hall of Famer Oscar Robertson with the crossbody bag.
I know. What? What in the world is in that bag? What you got in that bag? Big O. I didn't know he was hip to the 2015 trends.
So yeah, what a look there from Reg. Mark Jackson in attendance. A lot of Pacers legends in attendance. A couple I wrote down: Al Harrington, Austin Crocier, Dale Davis. You saw in the background of Mark Jackson when they showed him up in the suite. We later saw Lance Stevenson, Meta World Peace / Ron Artest. I'm sure I'm forgetting some other ones, but did you have a favorite? You're like, yeah.
Well,
that Pacers legend.
Rick Fox, not a Pacers legend, was in the second row there.
That was him, huh?
Yeah,
Nice.
He's growing the long gray hair. He looks older than he is.
For sure.
Big beard. He's 55 actually. Surprised.
He's literally a silver fox.
Yeah, he is literally a
He's an Indiana guy. You don't think of him as an Indiana
No,
guy.
yeah.
But he picked the Knicks in the last series over the Pacers. But he's
How
there.
do you know that?
I went to his Twitter. To his Twitter account just to see what's up.
Okay.
Yesterday, he's also building this natural cement. Is a company that's like sustainable cement to build homes, which is pollution free. Very, very interesting. In the Bahamas. Anyway,
Cool.
One of those Pacers was riding a bus with some of the other Pacers. He basically, I forget who it was now. I'm forgetting who it was. Who's like, I'm riding the bus here with these legends. So it was, a non-legend Pacer. One of them, I don't know if it was Travis Best or somebody, but somehow there's like a quick bus ride. I guess that they're all riding
They put
a shuttle.
They put them all up in a hotel.
Yeah,
I
exactly,
assume they
yeah.
fly them all in. I
shuttled
think,
it.
or at least I don't know. I don't know how that works. Somebody
Yeah.
literally Venmoing Mark Jackson money, or probably not. It's probably like, here's your flight, here's your access,
Exactly, yeah.
and come on out. You could even see the one shot, because a lot of them were in the suite. You could see like the nice loot bags for them in the background.
Yep.
That's just a nice touch there.
Absolutely.
From Indiana. I don't think we have a photo of it, but there's a lot of commentary on John Haliburton's jeans.
Oh yeah.
Johnny Jeans.
We got pregame, got some Haliburton mic'd up, and he was basically clowning his dad's pants, saying that you're out of pocket with those jeans, Dad.
Out of pocket.
And then it came up at the end of the game when Haliburton was getting interviewed. And he's like making fun of his dad's jeans again. I did see them. They were like,
Is it like alternating looks?
Yeah.
Like you got a dark denim with a
Yes.
light denim pocket,
Yeah.
and then the opposite on the other side, yin yang jeans.
I guess so.
Courtside though for Johnny.
He had the towel still.
They said, you're not coming to any more games. Wait a second. We're going to the conference finals. You can sit in the suite. Wait a second. We're going to the finals. You can sit courtside. And I didn't mind it.
No.
Right? Like, it's cool for him to be sitting courtside. That would be terrible. They actually go to the finals. They have a finals game for the first time in 25 years. They're like, nah, man, you got to watch at home. Even Giannis is happy he's there, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is great he's there, but he has the ability to do the funniest thing ever and just do it again and come out and talk trash to SGA. Start trying to fight somebody again. That would be funny.
It could happen. They got to win it. They got to win it.
Yeah,
you can't do it after
he's
going
gotta
up
get out there.
2-1. That's not allowed.
Any other notes from this one?
Now, Bacha, courtside.
Yeah, he was.
Was that a Canada 95 jersey?
He was definitely
wearing?
rocking a Canada jersey. Yep.
Sitting next to the hard hat guy.
Yeah. He got a bit of camera time. I mean, he's in a good spot.
Yeah,
You see
for
him all
sure.
the time,
Yep.
but yeah, hard hat guy that comes with like his 10,000 signs.
Yeah, that guy's
You
got
see
a
that
lot of
guy's like,
props.
he's literally like Carrot Top going through all of his stuff. Like, all right, what sign? Like, he has a sign for everything. TJ McConnell was going off. He's like, oh, it's TJ time. He's got that sign. It's incredible. Like,
pretty good.
Every play he's got a sign, so good for him. But yes, it's nice to see Knopf there.
Is he pulling for the Pacers, you think? Like, is this a Siakam-based
It's got to be.
cheering?
Again, maybe it's a little bit like us Canadians. Like, you got a bunch of Canadians on both sides, so I'm sure he's cheering for those guys. But I would guess it's a little more Pacers-centric because of Siakam. But I have no idea, to be honest. I don't know who he's tightest with of all the Canadians or honorary Canadians.
I think it's Pascal, because I think somebody on OKC made a shot and was right up in front of him. He didn't high-five him or anything. He was like, I'm cheering for the other dudes.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Well, it was great to see him there.
It was great.
I did write in my notes, I thought we got, to go back to the officials, I thought we got one of the louder and cleaner versions of Ref You Suck that we've ever had in an NBA arena. That was well done by the Pacers crowd. It was in unison and it was loud. Like, it was so perfect. Sometimes you get these and, man, not everybody's in sync. Gets a little muddled. It's not coming through on the broadcast. Oh, man, this one was so good, I thought.
Nailed it.
It was so good, I took a note of it. So I was like, good job. Way to tell those refs you suck.
Yep.
Capers, you suck.
What else we got?
Tony Brothers. So we had Tony Brothers, too. And Tyler Ford, I
Tyler
think.
Ford, his first game.
That's his right.
First finals game.
I didn't even know if it was the fans. I thought it was just Pat McAfee on the mic, just yelling it, because he was in the house again.
Yeah.
He was. Yep.
He was doing it.
Living the sweet life.
He's living the sweet life. Also had a shirt, which was Tyrese Haliburton doing the big balls dance, which said "overrate D's." Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
He's the right age for a guy to like a D's nuts joke, as in our age. Also, somebody tweeted me last night that Jimmy Goldstein ate a hot dog with no toppings on it.
It's unbelievable.
Just so you know. The more you know. We're talking about all the fans that are there. Jimmy Goldstein was there eating a hot dog. I can't even imagine that. I can't imagine him eating,
I'm actually starting to get concerned because we've talked about Jimmy Goldstein flying coach to all these games.
Okay.
Now I guess he's just eating straight up hot dogs with no toppings. Like, he just spends all his money on NBA tickets and has no money left for everything else.
He's always buying the ticket that has like the buffet alongside it. I need the club access. I'm starving.
I didn't actually notice where he was last night. Usually he pops.
Usually he pops.
Usually, there he is in a crazy
He's
cowboy
usually
hat.
out of pocket with them leathers.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't see him. I don't know where he was, but good to have him there.
That was a great game, man.
Oh my god,
well, I like basketball. It's cool.
Basketball's great. Anything else?
Randos? No, I think I maxed out.
I do have one sort of back to basketball plays. I saw Jared Weiss tweet this. One of the best plays of the night was when Haliburton ran that double screen action with 3 minutes left, up 5, and instead of trying to like slip a little pocket pass to Chet in traffic with Turner on him and playing defense, Haliburton just whipped it cross court, and it hit Nesmith right in the numbers, and Nesmith let it go and splashed the 3. And you go back and watch it. SGA was the helper off of Nesmith, but he wasn't that far away. It was an incredible pass that it got there, and then Nesmith, obviously, no hesitation, banging it home. That was a huge, huge play. And Haliburton is like, we talk about Luka, we talk about LeBron. Jokic does it in different ways on different sort of areas of the court, but these guys that can just throw like the perfect cross-court passes, Haliburton's amazing at it too.
Yes.
That one was. Whew. So
That was a beauty.
I noticed that as well, Jared. So that was an awesome play.
And speaking of cross-court passes, Jalen Williams getting into the lane with 30 seconds left in the third quarter, when I was just thinking, wow, the Thunder support players are taking over here at the end of the quarter. He got into the lane and made a left-handed pass to Chet Holmgren on the baseline. Not quite cross-court, but he's dribbling with his left hand, is able to fire it, baseline cut for a dunky dunk. As Holmgren gets a dunk, then Jalen Williams hit a pull-up shot to end the quarter, and they're up 5. And I thought, okay, here they come. As the sport guys, finishing off a fourth quarter like that was not enough.
So, look, it's the NBA Finals. Every game takes on its own identity. But do you have any sort of predictions or expectations? What will happen on Friday night in Game 4 here back in Indiana?
I'm letting my dad take my prediction for me.
Okay, go on.
He called last night's game. He said the Pacers are going to win, ... the first quarter. They didn't. But he left himself a hedge, so if you wanted to cut it for a social clip, it would have been perfect.
Smart.
Nonetheless, they did win the game. He says OKC blowout Game 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. A big, strong response here.
Strong response, yeah.
From OKC.
I'm going to hedge. They're going to win. Maybe not a blowout. Not quite a hedge, actually. I take it back. Anyway, I do think that I'm just going to be stubborn and just roll with OKC to win Game 4. That's it. Done and done.
Again, I mean, we brought this up on yesterday's podcast. I mean, you guys agreed with me. It's like, we are talking about this series, like, oddly, like it's 3-0 OKC when it was 1-1,
Absolutely.
and now it's 2-1 Indiana.
Even
so
still with
now
betting companies.
Yeah, now people are joking. It's like, Thunder up 1-2. And I was like, okay, that is pretty funny. I don't know, man. This Team of Destiny thing, it might be real. Pacers halfway to winning what would be one of the most unlikeliest championships that we have in NBA history when you're looking at preseason odds to win this thing. And then their odds, once we hit the playoffs, got even longer. That's the crazy part. They were like plus 6,600 in the preseason. Start of the playoffs, they were like plus 8,000. That's
what?
Wild. Yeah.
That's messed
up. And then I saw of CBS Sports, Brad Botkin, I love how he worded it. In all of recorded history, sounds very dramatic, but only 3 championship teams across any of the 4 major American sports have ever started with longer preseason odds than the Pacers. It's like, whoa. I mean, I could ask you if you wanted to guess, but I think I'll just tell you. The 3 other teams with longer preseason odds. You take a guess if you want.
Give me a Minnesota Twins.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Worst the first. Beat the Braves.
91 Twins is one of these teams. They had.
How about that? Kirby Puckett. Robbing guys at the Metrodome wall.
The tarp.
The tarp, yeah.
It was running into that plastic wall.
That's right.
Right.
The fiberglass.
That's right. I got it right on the very first guess.
Good stuff. So 91 Twins. They were plus 8,000 preseason odds. Another baseball team. You want to take a crack at it? In the 2000s, early 2000s.
Diamondbacks?
No, but
one
like that type of team, to me at least.
A weird team.
I think this team won.
Florida Marlins,
Yeah,
1997?
2003.
Oh,
They won
2003.
it twice. Right?
Yeah, so the 03 Marlins were plus 7,500 preseason odds. And then you got to go to the gridiron for the team I'm looking for. They were plus 15,000 to win the championship in late 90s, I'll give you.
Late 90s. I mean, who won? San Francisco 49ers won a championship. They probably were favored, though.
You're in the right state.
What? You said the Rams.
Yes.
Yeah,
99 Rams were that long of odds.
Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
We didn't even know about him.
So there you go. So, I mean, and then if the Pacers can do this and win 2 more, they're like, on this list as plus 6,600. So it's unlikely is my point here. It's pretty amazing, this run.
It's quite the run.
It is special.
I can't believe their odds went down to start of the
playoffs. I know. Because
weird,
a lot of the other ones that had maybe like crazy long shot odds in the preseason, well, then the team got better. They impressed. The odds got shorter. Hit the postseason, odds got even shorter, but like they're one of these weird cases where they weren't. I guess it's just like you looked at like, how the hell are they going to get there? It's like, okay, wow. Okay, you got to beat Giannis and the Bucks. Okay. But then a 64-win Cavs team, obviously a Knicks team that had home court advantage as well, really good team that's higher seeded, and then maybe a whole part of this equation is like, well, whoever comes out of the East ain't winning anyway.
Yeah.
But,
probably. Yeah, that's probably part of it.
It is crazy. No, they got 2 more to go.
I didn't realize I have 3 more production notes.
Okay.
Number 1, finals was on the floor. Just the script the whole time.
And it looked better.
It looked better.
Yeah.
It's easier with, black and red than it is with glowing yellow, for sure.
It's also in the little score bug. Just the tiny little score bug.
They're trying to beef it up for sure.
Yeah, I was showing my girl. Like, you can see, you can read that cursive, right?
Check the bug.
That's a capital F.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I like these 2 lines. After Shai Gilgeous-Alexander traveled at the free throw line, Richard Jefferson said he knew he traveled. Guilty feet ain't got no rhythm. Great line. This is the careless whisper from Richard.
Yeah.
And then very soon after, there was like a skirmish on the ground. The ball goes out on Siakam, and it was just weird to hear Mike Breen said, it hit his butt.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd hear him say butt.
Breen dropping a butt on us. That's his new bang.
He dropped a bang.
He did.
Yeah.
Nesmith, on an Aaron Nesmith shot.
But we got no double bang here yet in the finals. No Breen.
No, you didn't need like a game winner or something.
Exactly. That's why. He didn't even say bang for that one.
No.
Not one single bang.
Only 3s, he said.
Yeah, that's why it was weird to hear it on a Nesmith shot.
Yeah. Big shot, though.
That was not a game winner.
No. Big shot. All right. We are very excited for Game 4. Friday night, like I said, we'll be back here in the Classic Factory on Saturday morning. But let's pivot to something else here. According to Shams, the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant's team, have met multiple times over the past week as they work through various trade scenarios. So, and we knew this, it's not if Kevin Durant is being dealt. It is now just a matter of when he's being dealt and where he's being dealt. And there are 5 teams on the KD list, again, according to Shams here. We got the Houston Rockets, the San Antonio Spurs, the Miami Heat, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the New York Knicks. Now, Shams did say several wild card suitors have emerged. We'll get to that a little bit later. So just, keep that in your pocket. The wild card suitors. Didn't he say have emerged in the last 7 to 10 days? Oh, I love it.
We need our wheel. We need a wheel to spin like we had in the starters days where we did it for the draft lottery.
Okay.
Right? With all these teams, because there's literally 20 teams that Kevin Durant could reportedly be traded.
Well,
to.
maybe. But I want to focus on the 5 teams that Shams did report on, and I thought we could rank the possible landing spots from least likely to most likely for the Suns superstar. And in doing so, we can talk through what type of deal would that look like, and why you don't think it'll happen or why you do. A few notes on Kevin Durant before we dig in here, just to refresh everybody's memory. He is turning 37 years old. He'll be 37 on opening night of next season. He's getting up there. He's played forever. Then again, he was still awesome this year. He made his 15th All-Star game. He averaged, if you're rounding up, 27 points per game, 6 boards, 4 assists, played 62 games, so he was injured for a little bit. He had still, he's still one of the best just straight-up shooters in the league, especially, in the mid-range game and off the dribble jumpers. He basically leads the league in those categories still with his stats and efficiency. His contract, $54.7 million for the upcoming 25-26 season, but it's expiring. Okay? Mm-hmm. So that does give him, in theory, some leverage maybe in deciding where he wants to go with the idea of signing an extension, because once he's traded, he's eligible to sign a 2-year contract extension after July 6th, worth as much as $112 million, but he could also wait 6 months after that trade, and then he could sign a 2-year extension worth up to $124 million. I mean, so that's the ballpark, and you have to almost assume wherever he's dealt, I guess he's signing this extension if he wants to continue to keep playing basketball.
It's a real Jimmy Butler situation.
Exactly.
It feels like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're paying a lot of money here for a guy, like I said, that will be 37, but is still obviously has an elite skill still in this league. Okay, so let's get to those 5 teams. I'm going to start with the least likely that he gets dealt to from those 5 teams that have been mentioned. Durant to the Knicks. Now I say that because there's been a lot of like counter reporting from people plugged in to the Knicks. Stephen Bondi of the Post, he's saying the opposite of sort of what Shams is saying. He's saying New York will not be dealing for the future Hall of Famer. And there's been a few other reports that the Knicks are not in the KD business. That's why I put them there. And then the other part is, I think if you're not trading Karl Anthony Towns for KD, then it gets really difficult to get a package that makes sense for the Knicks even. I could see it from the Sun side, but you're not trading Jalen Brunson. I don't think you're trading OG Anunoby either, how important he is sort of defensively. So it's you're getting to Bridges and Hart and Mitchell Robinson and, little draft capital to make that happen. Your thoughts on the Knicks?
You're saying they wouldn't trade Towns. I think he would have to be in it.
Yeah,
for it to make sense, especially because, him and Devin Booker are like best buds. So that would be the allure for Towns to be like, okay, I'm fine with this. And for the Suns to be like, maybe he will be... I mean, Karl Anthony Towns is an all-NBA player. He has his warts for sure, and they usually show at the worst possible times, but the Suns didn't make the playoffs, so maybe they should worry about that rather than if he's going to be able to hold up defensively in the conference finals. It just seems unlikely where these two teams are at salary cap.
I'm saying I agree with you from the Suns side of things.
Yeah.
I think they're more likely to do it, especially if it's Cat. Even maybe if it's the Bridges, Hart, and other pieces to get to the salary. I think the Knicks, I think the Knicks would be damn silly to do this that much, personally. And I would not trade Cat for KD at this point.
Yeah, with where they're at, Cat just lines up with the ages of everybody on that team. Doesn't seem to me to make sense.
Okay. Let's go.
What did you say KD's contract is going to be, though?
55, right? About
just for
55.
one more year.
Yeah, one more year.
Yeah, but then he's eligible for what kind of extensions?
Basically call it 60.
Okay. I mean that's
60
what Cat's
plus.
making.
Yeah. But if you're the Knicks, would you trade Cat for KD?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I guess I'm no, but
I don't think it makes them that much better, but I also don't think it makes them that much worse. I'm saying I would trade Towns for the right guy. I think I'd rather trade him for Giannis, though.
Right. Well, and this is a huge difference. Giannis is 30 and still top, 5 at least, maybe 3 player in the league. And that is, I guess I should have said that. Like KD, every other time he's been traded, KD was still top 5 all these other times. But we're not saying that now. Like, I don't know where you rank him, but he's much further down.
Oh, absolutely.
He's somewhere in the 10 to 20 range, I would assume, for most people. Maybe on the lower end even of that. Yeah. So, okay, this is a lot different than Giannis is my point. All right, number 4, Durant to the Heat. The Heat always come up when there's a big name to be had, right? They're always attached to a star that's potentially on the trade market. Now, do they land them all that often? No, not really. But in terms of a return package, a couple ways you could go about this. But I guess it starts with, are they including a Hero, a Bam, or even a Khalil Ware, who they're pretty high on as a rookie center? Let's say they're not, okay? So what could they get? Suns would get Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, and then what makes the deal, like why you would do it, I guess, Jovic, the number 20 pick, and then a future first-round pick in the future, 2030. You're leaning more into draft capital. You're getting some picks back because you're not all that excited about Terry Rozier, I assume.
No, I think this to me is easy yes for the Heat, easy no for the Suns.
The other way you could do it, this one from CBS Sports, 3-team deal. Durant goes to the Heat. Suns get Andrew Wiggins, and then the Blazers are the third team here. Robert Williams the third. Jovic comes from Miami still. Couple future first-round picks, 2030, 2032, and then the Blazers would get Duncan Robinson in this 3-team deal. So they would just get some shooting there and obviously lose Robert Williams the third, but Kevin Durant would still go to the Suns in this hypothetical. How do you feel about Kevin Durant would still go to the Heat?
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. What would the Blazers get out of this? Just getting off of Robert Williams?
Yeah, just the idea of getting some shooting if you believe in Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, I think we're reaching a point here with the Kevin Durant scenario is, what are these packages? Because basically we're getting to draft picks for Phoenix, really. I mean, yes, Jovic, solid guy, but we're getting to how much are people going to pay for Kevin Durant?
We'll get to some better deals here in a second.
That ain't good enough, really. And
well, that's why I have them low. I don't think
Yeah.
they have, these teams don't have all that exciting of offers, really.
Yeah.
If you want picks, I mean.
And Windhorst was reporting, if you're putting rebuild type packages into your trade machine, start over. The Suns don't want picks.
Yeah.
They want players more so than anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Ishbia's not that type of guy. Devin Booker just okayed the Jordan Ott coaching because he wants to be there, I suppose. But he doesn't want to, hey, let's just rebuild this thing.
And then from Miami's side of this whole thing, like, I mean, the fundamental question is, like, are you going to mortgage your future here for Durant, even if you're keeping your Hero and Bam, and you think that's good enough? Like, is those 3 good enough to obviously compete in the Eastern Conference and go super far?
I think they would. I think they would do it. The Heat often trade away their future and their future draft picks. The Eastern Conference likely to be down next season with the Tatum injury, the Lillard injury. Those 2 teams probably take at least a minor step back. It gets the Heat out of the play-in tournament, most likely. I think they would and should do it. I don't really think, like, Jovic and Hawkes is a future, really. Those are role player guys.
Third on the list, Durant to the Timberwolves. Mutual appreciation between Kevin Durant and Anthony Edwards. We know this. Everybody knows this. But it gets, like, tough to make this trade. You probably got to get a third or fourth team involved. One going around, making some waves here, is the Wolves get Kevin Durant. The Suns get Julius Randle, Mike Conley, Gogo Pitadze and his wig, Terrence Shannon Jr., and the number 25 pick. The Magic get a shooter, get some shooting in Dante DiVincenzo, and the Nets, because they're helping everybody out here, they get Gary Harris and they get like a 2nd-round pick. So, Durant to the Wolves.
Thanks for the help. Here's Gary Harris.
Well, here's the pick. I mean,
Second rounder. Second rounder. Nobody goes into the second round anymore.
Oh, hey, look. These
Andrew
people acquire
Nemhard.
them.
Well, that's the thing, is that all of these guys who would be good second-round picks are now going to go back to college and make $3 million from NIL. It's happening. They're leaving the draft.
Yep.
Yeah, but they could get lumped into a draft eventually, like because they're making money. Eventually there'll be 35 good basketball players out there,
But anyway, what do we think of Durant going to the Wolves in some sort of deal? Again, it does get tough for Minnesota to make this happen, because then there's like things you got to do with like retaining Naz Reid and Nickeil Alexander-Walker and so on. But your reaction to KD to Timberwolves?
I like it. I think it's too complicated for it to actually happen with the two main teams being second and apron teams. It just gets hard to do the trade. You're throwing in 4 teams here, and the Nets, they're helping, but they're not getting really anything out of it. Maybe they find somebody in the second round, maybe, but I mean, Gary Harris ain't changing their future, nor is it making them that much worse for what they're giving up. But I love the idea of Kevin Durant on the Timberwolves as somebody else who can get a shot off with the ball in his hands. A lights out playoff player, though he hasn't really won anything since leaving the Nets. I mean, they won 1 playoff series when he was at the Nets, though circumstances were against them at the time. But I do love the idea of getting somebody else next to Ant who can go get a bucket.
Yeah, on the Minnesota side, I would be extremely excited.
So you'd be excited, really, to what I get. I know it was like a lot of information there, but like that was like 3 rotation players. I did say that you're sending
Randall
out, really
being the big one.
Yeah, Randall, and I know Mike Conley's getting up there in age, but obviously still contributed, and then DiVincenzo, a key piece of their bench. So 3 rotation players going out for Kevin Durant.
That's true.
But
yeah, the DiVincenzo hurts. I know Mike is important at this point, and they don't have somebody to replace him immediately. They actually do not, but Kevin Durant is a special guy, doing more than Mike Conley as a secondary type of guy. There would be a lot on Anthony Edwards' shoulders, but as far as basketball goes, it's Kevin Durant.
A lot of people say, I mean, you could get into trading Rudy Gobert too, but he seems like such an important piece to obviously the Wolves and what they do. I don't think that's likely, but people have been pitching that one as well.
It does seem to me, though, that the Timberwolves so far are in win now mode compared to, I mean, the Knicks and the Heat are too, but like the Timberwolves, it feels kind of weird to put 37-year-old Kevin Durant next to Ant Edwards, but they're so far over the aprons now with the McDaniels deal, with Rudy Gobert's gigantic contract, that it doesn't really bother me to get a guy who would fit really nicely on their team as a wing who can score, who can play the 4, can play a small ball 5 next to Naz Reid if they wanted to do that kind of thing. They're probably would be able to get some minimum veteran guys that are going to be trying to chase a ring playing next to KD and Ant as well. So like I'm saying, I don't think it really will happen just because so many moving pieces, but I see the fit.
You see the fit.
Yep. Oh yeah. Kevin Durant provides space for Anthony Edwards, who is struggling to find it because he would be replacing Julius Randle primarily.
Right.
Although Julius Randle was good, but they're still looking. We're talking about age, and maybe he's too old. But Mike Conley was too old in the playoffs. They need somebody else at the guard spot. So these are multiple things that they'd have to do. The trading of Rudy Gobert is an interesting one because are they going to rely on Naz Reid as their center, who's damn good, but would he be the guy that they signed to play 35 minutes per game? That's a huge question, though, for Tim Connolly because he is a free agent. Potentially, anyway.
Let's go to Texas for our final 2 teams here. We'll put at number 2 Durant to the Rockets. They've been connected to Durant here for a while. I mean, you can maybe even go back to last summer. They have several young players that, in theory, could maybe entice the Suns. And more importantly, they hold several of Phoenix's future first-round picks, right? You could get your own picks back and actually have control of them. So what would it take? There's a couple versions, but what they usually come down to is the Rockets getting Kevin Durant, of course, the Suns getting Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., and then I've seen Jock Landale thrown in there, and a number 10 pick. You could take out Landale as well. If you do that, you're going to have to get into waiving guys and declining options, but you could make it work. But the core is, let's call it Jalen Green and Jabari Smith Jr. and a pick, which is theirs. And they do have another one in the future, too, for Kevin Durant to Houston TK.
If I'm the Suns, I would only do it if they're giving us back both picks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then you take on the Jalen Green, even though you maybe don't love that fit with Booker, but
no,
Jabari Smith
and Beal.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
he'll be there.
But you're doing it because you're getting your actual draft capital back, and Jabari Smith Jr., who maybe is a good player for you in the future.
Yeah, I think Jabari Smith Jr. would step into the starting lineup right away. And that's, he's kind of in and out of the starting lineup with the way things went for the Rockets. So I think maybe he would welcome that as well.
How do you feel about it from the Rockets side of things? They didn't do anything aggressive. They sort of stood pat and obviously turned into a really good team. Number 2 seed in the West, got there to the playoffs and had some experience, at least growing pains. But are you sort of blowing that up, or you think this is adding to their chances to continue this role?
Well, it would mean Fred VanVleet would come back as the ball handler, I imagine. So it'd be Fred, Durant, and Alperen Şengün as your core 3 with Amen Thompson. I call it a core 4. I'd be super excited. I know he is, again, 37, and maybe he seems a little too old for Houston, but I don't know. He seems like he's going to play forever. I know there's people are flashing back to Paul George last year. That was an all-star season he was coming off of, and look what's happened to him. I don't see the comparison at all. Kevin Durant is too good for that.
Okay, so you guys seem in on this one. I mean, this is one we've talked about for a while here.
They have so many parts to offer the Phoenix Suns, right? They're so deep.
Yeah.
Houston is so deep,
Yeah,
to make something work. But the picks are important. But you could be working both sides here. You could be getting both things.
What picks would the Rockets have left? Like other future picks? I think that would be key to me, because having these 2 Suns picks is pretty good for their future right now. Like, they're getting a number 10 draft pick right now.
Yeah.
Who knows if the Suns are going to be any better for the next time it comes around. So if they still, I don't actually remember what their assets are looking like here.
They have the number 10 pick in this draft, 2026.
Okay, yeah.
2026, they have their own pick. Then
2026 goes to OKC
confusing.
or Washington.
It's they would have their own pick if it was 1 through 4, because it's protected.
Okay.
And then 2027 we get into Brooklyn's pick, and then their own pick and Phoenix's pick. And then 2028 they have their own pick, Dallas's pick, and Phoenix's pick. Excuse me. In 2028 they have their own pick, and it's complicated. In 2029 they have their own pick and Dallas's pick.
Okay.
Now I think I would do it.
They have a ton.
Phoenix.
If the main thing they're giving, I wouldn't want to give away Jabari Smith.
I just lied. They have Phoenix's pick anyway.
But if they're still going to have these additional picks that you can use for trades in the future, maybe keep them to use them as draft picks, they would still have young guys on their bench. Reed Shepherd couldn't really see the court this season. Still a little too young. Who knows what Cam Whitmore becomes. During the season, I was like, there's no way the Rockets should do this.
Right.
But then they went through the playoffs, and I was like, Jalen Green looked like Jalen Green in the playoffs. And if that's the main piece you're giving up, I don't think the Suns would do it, because that's the main guy they're getting back. But if that's all the Rockets really have to give up, I would hate giving up Jabari Smith Jr., but I think it's a massive upgrade to go from Jalen Green to Kevin Durant.
I tend to agree. I think they're in that camp where you're not giving up everything. You still have draft capital. They definitely are going to want one, if not both of their picks or 2 of their picks, but you can play hardball with them. Like, no, we're only giving you this. We're giving you a young guy too, and that's it. And you got to take Jalen Green. I like you. I'm with you. I like you too, but I'm also with you on this one. There's something there. If they want, I mean, this goes back to it's a risk. It is. I'm sorry. You say he's going to age well. Yeah. But it's also Kevin Durant. He can be a little moody at times if things aren't going well. And I think he can sort of sometimes he can change the dynamics or the locker room, so to speak, of the vibe of a team. I know that sounds silly, but there's a little history of that. But then again, maybe it works flawless and the guy's a bucket still. So.
With the Rockets, though, because I mentioned they have so many guys. Who are the guys that they won't trade? They won't trade Amen Thompson.
No.
They won't trade Alperen Şengün, it feels like.
I don't know.
Yeah? That's
depends on for who.
Yeah, not for Kevin Durant.
They would trade him for Giannis.
Yeah, not for Kevin Durant.
Right. And then the third guy would be Jalen Green, essentially. And so that's the kind of the line. Mm-hmm. If you're getting rid of Jalen Green, it sort of makes sense. That's that. I mean, Kevin Durant will perform in the postseason. He will perform.
Final one.
I can give you all the picks again if you want to hear them.
No, I definitely don't.
No, that was rough.
No, the point is they have a lot of theirs. Yeah. They have a lot of Phoenixes. You threw in the Nets one for sure. Yeah. If not, maybe multiple. So, yeah, they're looking pretty good. They made a lot of these deals, and they have a lot of draft capital.
Raphael Stone is ready.
But number one, as maybe the most likely place to make this Kevin Durant trade, and the odds makers agree, Durant to the Spurs, right? They are the heavy betting favorites to land KD. He has a connection to Texas. He played at the University of Texas. There's that. Makes sense if you're looking, at KD like, hey man, I could team up with Victor Wembanyama. This guy's a monk right now. That's the energy I need in my life. So that could be a smart business move. And then for the Suns, the Spurs could obviously make a pretty good return package. The one that you've sort of pitched before, a lot of people pitching it. Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, Harrison Barnes. And then the number 14 pick. I don't think they're going to trade the number 2 pick. I don't think they should. I don't think they need to trade Castle either. But what do you think about Vassell, Sohan, Harrison Barnes, and then the later pick for KD? Send it in or no way?
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do it.
Yeah.
I think that's an easy yes for San Antonio, and I think it's going to get done. It's what it seems like before the draft even. I love the idea of Kevin Durant and Victor Wembanyama next to each other. You think a 7-footer who can shoot threes is cool? How about a 7'5" guy who can shoot threes? And they're on the court together. I love it.
I think it makes sense. I think the line of who you would get rid of kind of starts with Devin Vassell. If you're the Suns, you want Devin Vassell.
Yeah.
You don't want it to drop to Keldon Johnson, even though they have a deep roster. But yeah, you're getting back 2 players to complement Devin Booker, and you're getting a pick. I think that is the one that makes the most sense. The Vassell line, although he is similar to Devin Booker, starting to buy it. I don't know if I want to read into Jeremy Sohan's tweet. Beautiful day today. Sun emoji. Hope everyone has a good day! !
Oh, interesting.
Suns?
Jeez.
Is it the Suns? Does he know? Does he know? That was just yesterday.
Okay. No, you saw all the rumors. I'll tell you that. He's having some fun with it. Okay, yeah, that's why. I mean, it does make sense. It's not. I think it's the perfect amount. That's I think best case scenario, if I'm being honest, with what Phoenix is sort of going to get back here. A late lottery pick, a talented young guy, and then some other flyers. And then Harrison Barnes, or who knows if he's rerouted or whatever, but a locker room guy at the very least. He's in there for make the contract work. Yeah, that's why they're the favorites to get him here.
Wow, upgrading from Harrison Barnes to Kevin Durant. It's worked before.
Give it a go again.
Yeah. Man, would Phoenix do it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting.
Those 3 guys can play, at least.
Play.
Vassell can play alongside Booker and Beal. I mean, that's kind of weird, too. That's a pretty small, no defense team from the perimeter, but that's what they are. They're not getting a center back, which clearly they need a center. They tried the Nurkic, Plumlee, Nick Richards triumvirate last year, and it didn't go all that well. They also aren't getting, you're saying, these future picks from Atlanta, from Minnesota. I think the Spurs have as well. That's a disappointing return, I would say, for Kevin Durant. But if they're looking to get back what they traded for him, it ain't going to happen.
No, that's the thing. So which one do you like more, the hypothetical deals here, if you're the Suns? You like Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr. in the number 10 pick, and we'll call it there? Or do you like Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, Harrison Barnes, and the 14th pick in the draft?
I like the Rockets better. The Rockets trade better. I think it complements his Devin Booker a little more rather than mirroring him with Devin Vassell. They're starting to overlap there with those 2 guys and Bradley Beal. I think the Rockets just have more of a variety of talent. Although, yes, Kevin Durant and Wemby is enticing. That is no doubt. But I don't know. I don't know about this. The Vassell's obviously solid. Very solid. It's too Booker-like, I think, in the end.
Maybe so. I'm a little more out on Vassell than I have been. He hasn't really developed as a defender, and I'm not even convinced he's a starter for the Spurs long term. So we'll see.
Okay, well, let's hear from you out there, ranking these potential destinations for Kevin Durant. But let's circle back to the wildcard suitors, because Shams did say that, and I just we'll end with this. Do you have a favorite wildcard team that could obviously sneak in here and maybe put together an enticing package for Kevin Durant?
I think it's the Milwaukee Bucks to play with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, they don't have a lot to trade out.
What are they trading, man?
They have picks. That's where the third party, fourth team thing needs to happen. And that's the scary part here, because the Brooklyn Nets are the most interesting one to partake in this. But what are they willing to give up? I don't think they're willing to give up Cam Johnson. Maybe they will.
You're saying the Brooklyn Nets being involved?
They need to be involved.
Oh, okay.
They need to be involved.
Because you're not saying Kevin Durant would go back to the Brooklyn Nets. I don't think
that's the case. No,
okay.
He's not going to Brooklyn. He's not going to Utah. I know everybody hot about Toronto. I don't buy it. I think him and Giannis Antetokounmpo paired.
Wow.
Makes a lot of sense. Now, there needs to be things that have to work out because they don't have a lot of assets. But we're not sure exactly what all these other teams are offering. Like that's the problem here, in that it is Kevin Durant, it is an all-time great, but what are these teams willing to offer in comparison to Milwaukee plus a Brooklyn or some other team? There's picks to be had, and one of these, maybe, I don't know if Brooklyn's really just willing to empty the cupboard and say we're gonna be bad again. They're kind of already bad anyway. Whether it's not,
They weren't bad enough. Was the problem this year.
Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton are the names out there to be included for Phoenix.
All right, look, I asked for a wild card team.
That's a
Milwaukee
good one.
Bucks are definitely a wild card.
Giannis and Kevin Durant looking at each other, they would love each other. Right? They would love each other. They are, the past of the NBA. They got a few more years together.
Okay.
I know. I'm a little high on Kevin Durant being healthy. I ain't no freaking doctor, but I do think he will be.
Okay.
So,
you got a wild card team for me?
I'm not as worried about the health for Durant, but the teams haven't been that great that he's been on. I think he's won 2 playoff series since he left Golden State. He's not able to carry the team the way he was, but if he's alongside Giannis, maybe that works nice. The wild card team is the Toronto Raptors for me. They got an easy trade to make. RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, the number 9 pick, or their 2026 first. Like, that gets it done money-wise. Obviously a big-time upgrade. RJ Barrett to Kevin Durant. Would be weird to see Kevin Durant next to Brandon Ingram, who I sometimes forget is a Toronto Raptor because they traded for him, but somehow he missed 2 months with an ankle sprain.
Yeah, haven't seen him play.
Yep, haven't seen him play. Poeltl would be a great center for the Suns. They need a center. They're getting a draft pick. Maybe they want both of them. I wouldn't want to do that if I'm Toronto, but the Raptors have been chasing Kevin Durant for a long time. They might bring Gravis Vasquez back to try and get this deal done.
Best buds, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
It's funny you brought up the Raps because going back to like what type of deal are the Suns actually getting here for a 37-year-old KD? They're not getting what they gave up to get him in the first place. You said it, Trey. And I go back to the Raptors and trading Siakam to the Pacers. Like, I'm like, is it going to be, to me, it's going to be worse than Bruce Brown, Jordan Nwora, Kira Lewis, and 3 first-round picks that were like 2 in the one class and then another one. Like, or it might be comparable, or I think it's going to be worse than that because of obviously a huge age difference, and Siakam maybe a bit more of a two-way player, but KD an all-time great, but I don't know, like it's not going to be that good. And I was livid with that trade. I was not happy with the return the Raptors got. But there's also like, it was like contract coming up and stuff like that. So now I know Raptors fans are going, well, they spun around and turned it into Brandon Ingram. Okay, well, yeah, a little bit save face, but that's not a good return. The guy's now balling out in the finals, for crying out loud. Point is, I'm just curious to see what the Suns get here for KD. I think it's going to be extremely underwhelming. And
which is why a lot of teams are in the running for it right now.
Exactly.
They're like, hey, we can make this happen.
Right.
We got to throw in 1 pick. We can figure out a way to finagle our salaries.
Right. That's true.
And I mean, and then again, like KD does have to like sort of sign off on this. Like
a little bit.
I mean, I know there could be a team that are like, who cares? Just bring him in here for a year. Try and do what the Raptors did with Kawhi. Let's just see if that works. And then he goes. But I think he's going to sign this extension wherever he probably gets traded, which is why he's working with Phoenix to like, okay, let's make this work. You guys are happy, and then I'm happy wherever I go.
Yeah, that's why the Clippers one that's out there. I don't buy that one. I do think the Clippers are willing to go for it, and the Drew Holiday from Boston rumors are legitimate to me. To add a guard, while Kevin Durant, that would just be totally mirroring Kawhi to some degree. But anyway.
But what are they trading? I mean, Norman Powell and Bogdanovich.
Yeah, they have.
They
have a Sixers pick again. It ain't sexy. Okay. There's not a lot of sexiness, but yeah. Dumb book, you want to play with Derrick Jones Jr.? We got you, man. So look, it doesn't.
Derrick Jones Jr.
Yeah. I mean, I like Derrick Jones Jr., but come on, man.
You're looking at these packages.
Hey, Devin Booker, I got good news and bad news. What do you want first?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know which one that would be.
Yeah, well, we're getting at Jabari Smith, very, very solid role player.
Yep.
Derrick Jones Jr., freaking NBA finalist a mere year ago.
Well, it's a great pitch.
What was the best player in all these hypotheticals I threw at you? Like realistic trade packages. it's probably Julius Randle.
Yeah.
It is. Like, if the Suns are, no, we don't want to be blow it up and because then Booker's eventually going to go. Like, we actually still want to compete here. Like, that is the move. It's to get Randall because he's the best of everybody I've mentioned. Not that some of these guys, these future guys, couldn't like turn into all-stars and stuff like that. But right now, it's him over, Devin Vassell or Jalen Green, right? So
Yeah.
Team that I think should try the Kawhi method. For Kevin Durant, we're going to trade for him. Who knows if he's actually going to sign here, but it gives us a chance to win the championship this year. Cleveland Cavaliers. It would be Jared Allen in the trade. It's kind of hard to make the salaries work because the Cavs are pretty cap heavy as well, but you can do it with like Allen, DeAndre Hunter, and Dean Wade. I don't know that KD would want to stick around in Cleveland, but he gives them a pretty solid chance.
Okay, I hadn't thought of that one.
He'd have his career in OKC, then he'd go win a championship with the team that knocked him out, and then LeBron's old team, if they win. Be weird.
That would be weird.
But it makes sense. I'm definitely leaning towards these teams that can just try and get there to the top. That's why the Clippers kind of, those teams that are willing to do it right here, right now.
Super
the Wolves,
aggressive teams.
The Wolves, sure. Rockets, to some degree, trying to do it. Spurs, I know they haven't been there at all.
That one, they're like, in theory, you're convincing yourself they take a huge jump. Different season if Wembanyama doesn't get hurt and all that. Now you got Fox in there. I mean, you got to have a good, talented team. If you threw KD on it, like you said, if you're basically upgrading, I guess, Vassell and Harrison Barnes to KD, that's good. That's good. Everybody's healthy. All right, well, let's hear from you. Your favorite wild card team for Kevin Durant, where you think he's going to go, what the package is going to look like. Drop them in the comments. Dropping them in the chat right now. Love to see it. We'll be on high alert for the Kevin Durant trade. How many times have we done an emergency Kevin Durant?
Oh my goodness!
This will be the third or fourth if the timing works for us. There's been a lot.
We've done a ton.
I'll have to go check the thumbnails, but I know I got a lot of Kevin Durant thumbnails for big emergency podcasts.
You're ready to go, man.
Emergency.
Do you want me to get it ready to go right now? Going to the Spurs?
He's going to be dealt.
Yeah, he's looking it up.
I see 3.
Yeah.
I think we've done 3.
That's what I thought.
The funniest one is emergency pod. Kevin Durant to remain with Brooklyn Nets. For now, we did an emergency podcast for a non-trade request.
Yes.
And then he brought it back later.
Oh, geez, that's fun. All right, let's call it there. So no show tomorrow unless Kevin Durant is traded to the San Antonio Spurs or there's other big news. Then we'll jump on and hit you with a podcast. But we'll be back on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, here from the Classic Factory, breaking down Game 4. We're either going to be tied 2-2 and have a best-of-3 NBA Finals, or the Indiana Pacers will do what we all laughed at the other day. Somebody's like, hey, what do you think the odds are the Pacers going back to OKC up 3-1? I was like,
You're like the good fellas laughing.
but they could. They absolutely could. But we'll be talking about it here on Saturday. Hope to see you then. Hit the like button, subscribe.
I told the people, if this live stream gets to 1,000 likes, I'll do the Saturday show. Not wearing a shirt. I don't know if that means I'll wear a tank top.
I didn't know you said this.
It was just chatting pre-show.
Okay.
How I was late because I forgot a shirt at home.
Yeah.
People said, do the show shirtless. And I said, give us 1,000 likes, and I will.
So we need 1,000 likes.
1,000 likes.
Okay, hit the like button.
You know I walked 1,000 likes just to show you my shirts. Do it.
Oh, you got 2 shirts on.
Yep.
What are you, Reggie Miller? All right, we will see you on Saturday. Until then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, Pat McAfee wears a tank top.
Right?
All the time. Or did he change it up now?
He'll sometimes have
the
sleeves.
odd time you see him not in one, but generally that's his wardrobe.
That's his wardrobe.
Black tank.
Yeah.
I think he's got like a cartoon character closet where he just goes in and it's like 40,000 black tank tops hanging up on hangers.
Yeah.
It sort of has to be. Yeah.
Maybe. Doesn't want them wrinkled.
Oh, or do you think he wears a different shirt to the Thunderdome and then puts it on when he's at work? Are they all at work?
Wow, kind of the opposite of what I do.
Yeah.
I show up in a tank top, put on a work shirt.
Yeah.
You think he shows up in a work shirt
and puts on a tank top? Yeah.
I gotta get in costume.
Let's reach out to Pat. We'll find out. All right, guys. We'll see you Saturday. Embrace the day.